Alright everyone, so for this video, we're going to discuss the ceiling theory. Now, the ceiling theory was something that Spyfrat came up with, something he devised to put into words or to put rules into what one does kapag biglang nag-ceiling ang price ng isang stock or issue. Now, I don't know about you, pero maraming mga pagkakataon akong na-experience sa trader na biglaan na lang, na hindi ko inaasahan, biglang magsisiling yung isang stock. Diba? It happened with MM, it happened with KPPI, and so on, no? Na biglaan na lang magsisiling. And then, usually, kapag ganon, ang mangyayari is you freeze. You don't know what to do. Kasi, on the one hand, you feel, ang laki na ng tinaas nito, baka hindi na ito tumaas ulit. Diba? Ang mahal na eh. Umangat ba naman ng 50% in one day? Tapos on the other hand naman, naisip mo na, shucks, sayang. Baka tumaas pa to, ang lakas ng momentum eh. So you don't know what to do. Parang you're caught between a rock and a hard place. So ang ginawa ni Senior Spyfrat is he put a set of rules around what to do kapag may nangyayaring mga ganong pagkakataon. So essentially, ang ceiling theory is riding the momentum wave. Diba? Riding that hype train para meron tayong opportunity to get into these types of setups kahit na minsan medyo nakakatakot. So, ano nga ba yung anatomy of ceiling theory? The ceiling theory is, in its purest essence, a setup for potential momentum or continuation plays. Now, the key things that you need to look for is, number one, syempre, price needs to close at the ceiling. Ano ba yung ceiling? Sakaling hindi nyo pa alam, ang PSE, meron siyang highest and lowest threshold na pwedeng abutin ng price ng isang stock or issue at any given day. Okay? Ang highest threshold natin as of this recording is 50%. At ang lowest threshold natin, again, as of this recording, is 30%. Binago nila yon. Pre-pandemic, the lowest threshold was 50%. So in the future, when you watch this video, baka nag-iba na naman. So make sure lang to keep yourself up to date kung meron mga pagbabagong ginawa ang PSE sa mga thresholds nila. Okay? Now, of course, merong exceptions sa mga ganong pagkakataon. Merong mga exceptions na naaalis ang floor, meron mga exceptions na naaalis ang ceiling, merong mga exceptions na naaalis ang pareho. And we'll discuss that more in future videos, no? But for now, ang pinaka-importante lang naman nating maintindihan is kaya na mahalaga yung mga ceiling and or floor is because they mark a threshold where price can no longer move beyond it, whether up or down. Okay? Next, we're looking for moves na ganito na ideally may kahalong some type of fundamental driver. Okay, iniiwasan natin yung mga stock na linalaro lang. Mamaya sa mga examples, I'll give one na parang medyo kita mo naman na medyo linalaro lang eh. So iniiwasan natin yung mga ganong klaseng stocks. Okay? And then finally, there's a timing issue when it comes to this type of setup, which we'll discuss in the next slide. Okay, hindi siya pareho sa ibang mga setups na, basta nag-crossover ng ganito, papasok na ako. Kahit na ma-miss ko siya ng a day or two, okay lang. Ito, important yung timing in more ways than one. Now, ano ba yung mga basic mechanics ng ceiling theory? Okay? So first, we should try to get in. Okay? Try being the operative word kasi you're not always guaranteed na mabibigyan ka ng pagkakataong pumasok. So we should try to get in should price close at the ceiling, the highest threshold, or at the very least, very, very close to it. Now, I would love to give you an exact number, no, na tipong kailangan at least at minimum 48.7%. Pero mahirap kasing bigyan ng ganong number at kailangan ng konting discretion dahil iba yung fluctuation ng price depende kung anong klaseng stock yon. Iba yung galaw ng mga sentimo lang, yung mga less than 1 cent. iba yung galaw ng mga piso, iba yung galaw ng mga 100 pesos, and so on. Okay, so basta malapit na malapit sa ceiling, okay, yun yung hinahanap natin. Next, kung makapasok tayo the next day, during the first 30 to 60 minutes of the trading day, momentum needs to be sustained. And what I mean by that is we want to see price trading up around 20% higher nung previous day's close. Okay? And again, kailangan konting flexible. Kanya 19.5%, sabihin nyo, hindi na to 20%. Hindi naman ganun, no? Kailangan merong konting feel, merong konting discretion talaga. But more or less, you want to see it up around 20%. Okay? And then, dito pumapasok yung sinasabi kong timing. We only get in on the first candle that it happens, or at most, during the second occurrence. Bakit? Kasi, usually, after nung second ceiling, the risk rises exponentially. So, parang humihirap yung trade moving forward. I'm not saying na hindi na siya tataas. It's just that the likelihood na tataas siya, bumababa. Yung probability, nawawala sa favor natin. Actually, between the first and the second na occurrence, mas safe pa rin talaga yung first kung kayang makapasok. Yung second is kumbaga last chance syndrome na yan. Kung talaga hindi nakapasok sa una at kaya makapasok sa pangalawa, kitang-kita na malakas talaga, then pwede. But you need to understand na during that kung ganun yung ginawa nyo, the risk becomes higher compared sa nung kung una pa lang nakapasok na kayo. The other timing aspect is yung getting in on the close. Okay, that's important. Bakit? Kasi let's say na you're trading a stock and then, you wanted to trade a stock, then on open, nag-ceiling siya agad. Okay? So, piso siya, nag-open siya agad at 1.5. Yay, di ba? Yung mga may hawak, tuwan-tuwa. Ngayon, should you buy kaagad? Kung binili mo siya on open, tapos nag-sustain yun, di good for you. However, the risk on your side rises. Kasi, a lot of things can happen intraday. Paano kung after mo bilhin yun at ceiling, okay, all price did during the day was go down. Di ba? Paano kung ganon? So, mapapakat ka, malulungkot ka, sasabihin mo, kalokohan naman yung video ni Senior Spyfrat sa ni GT. Diba? Linoko lang ako, budol. Hindi. Kasi, gusto natin, kaya at close, is we want to confirm as much as possible na nandyan talaga yung momentum, na hindi siya fake out, quote and quote. Or kung ayaw nyo at close, at the very least, very close sa close ng market. I realize I said close a lot there, no? Kumbaga, malapit nang magsara. Kumbaga, medyo guaranteed na magko-close siya at ceiling. Then, by all means, kung feeling nyo worth it na at that time, then you may do so, no? But the safest pa rin talaga is kung kaya, maapasok kayo pag nag-ceiling na on close para sigurado. Okay? So, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at a few examples and I'll show you charts para lang mapaliwanag ko ng mas mabuti. No? Para lang mas clear, mas visual. So let's go through a few examples, no? I purposely selected charts na pinaghalong mga mas bago or mas recent memory, saka yung mga mas luma na ng konti para lang makita nyo yung setup in action under various market conditions. I figured na kung lahat pinili ko puro IPO lang or kung lahat pinili ko puro luma lang, it wouldn't be a proper representation of what it can or can't do or what can or can't be done. Okay? So let's start with MM. Yung MM, kung naalala nyo, ang IPO price nito was at 1 peso. On open, so first day niya, it opened at ceiling agad. Tapos intraday, nag-dip tayo hanggang 1.28 but it soon went back and closed sa ceiling. Okay? Now, Kapag pinapractice natin yung ceiling theory, then you would be getting in on this candle here. Okay, pagpalagay natin na nabigyan kayo, ha? Huwag muna natin pag-usapan whether nabigyan kayo or hindi kasi yun beyond our control naman yun eh. So what happened the next day? So dito papasok tayo, first day, pasok pa sa category natin, pasok pa sa parameters, tapos ceiling, okay, pasok lahat. So we get in. Then second day, price gapped up. And very clear naman na within the first 30 to 60 minutes, it stayed well above 20% of yesterday's closing price. Diba? And nag-end din yung araw na yon na ceiling din. Now, let's say na hindi kayo nakapasok dito. And you decide to get in at the close of this candle. So second day na, understood that the risk is slightly higher, but medyo, kumbaga, we can live with it pa. So what happened? Third day, the market opened, ceiling na naman. Okay? Dip slightly intraday, but again, nakikita natin na nandyan pa rin yung momentum, nandyan pa rin yung strength, kasi price never dipped below yung sinasabi nating threshold na kailangan at least above nung previous day's close ng 20% or higher within the first 30 minutes to 1 hour para may chance na umangat ulit or mag-push higher. Not necessarily na mag-ceiling ulit but yung tendency na mag-continue yung momentum nandyan. And then dito sa third day, wala na tayong habulan kasi third day na eh, medyo risky na. So what happened then? The next day, price gapped up, hindi to ceiling ulit, no? Tapos it just plummeted down really fast. And then kung sabihin natin, dito kayo pumasok, next day hindi nyo nabantayan, edi drawdown na tayo. Now, I know some people may argue, tinan mo nangyari sa chart, umabot pa nga yan ng 8 pesos eh. But at the time, hindi naman natin alam yun eh. Diba? At the time, you couldn't have possibly predicted na, hindi, aabot yan ng 8 pesos, tama lang na hindi ko ibenta. Nataon lang na umabot siya ng 8 pesos at kung nataon na hindi mo nabenta, then good for you. But there was no guarantee na abot siya ng 8 pesos. In this particular instance, okay, dito, kung bumili ka sa first day, second day nakita mo nag-ceiling, let's say nag-hold ka, or second day ka palang pumasok, I would likely sell na dito sa third candle, na ceiling na naman ulit. Kasi nga alam natin na yung likelihood na magpapatuloy na ceiling na naman, medyo unlikely na. Diba? Pwede namang bumalik kapag ka nag-form na ng bagong structure yung chart. Next, let's take a look at ECP, no? And for ECP, you have to forgive me because we have to go back a little bit in time, okay, to this area here from 2018. Now, ano ang nangyari sa ECP? Ganon din. Ito yung unang araw na nag-ceiling tayo. So let's say nakapasok ka dito. Next day, we gapped up. So from the close of 7.87, next day nag-gap up tayo to 9 pesos. Okay? Then tumuloy na pataas. So obviously, na-maintain niya yung strength. Okay? Na-maintain niya yung strength. And let's say dito kayo pumasok, third day, ceiling na naman ulit. Okay? So whether you got in here or here, we understand the likelihood na tumataas na yung risk. So we might choose to get out here, or maybe kung ayaw natin ilabas ulit, feeling natin tataas pa, we can possibly trim our positions to secure some of our gains and minimize some of our risk. Okay? So this is another example. Next, let's take a look at now. Now, sa now, again, we go back in time to 2019. So napapansin nyo talagang namimili ako ng tawag ito, magkaiba talaga yung mga time periods, no? Iba-iba yung taon hanggat kaya para lang napapakita ko ng mas tama under different market conditions. So same thing, nag-ceiling tayo on this candle. Okay? Nag-ceiling tayo dito. Nung nag-close tayo ng ceiling, you could have gotten in based on sa system, based on sa setup. So pasok, ceiling play ba? Check, di ba? Nag-ceiling yung price, highest threshold. Okay? Could have gotten in on the close. Then the next day, we hit ceiling bago siya lumagapak ulit. See, in this particular instance, dahil hindi tayo bumili agad ng maaga nung nag-ceiling. 'Di ba? Naiwasan natin yung heartache na kung nabili natin dyan, we would have bought the top and we would have experienced severe drawdown. Again, what happens in the future is irrelevant. Hindi naman natin alam yun eh. A lot of people, sasabihin nila, nagsisisi ako na dapat di ko muna to binenta, dapat hindi ko muna to ginanito. But, ang lagi ko sinasabi sa ganun, alam mo ba naaabot siya ng, I don't know, 100 pesos? Alam mo ba naaabot siya ng 500 pesos? Kasi kung hindi mo alam, then you can't really blame yourself for that. You acted based on the information given on the current, under the current circumstance. So you can't really regret that. Di ba? Yes, it's a little bit sad na minsan nabenta mo at 10, umabot ng 20, but you can't blame yourself. You can't live with regret sa mga ganong bagay dahil hindi mo naman alam eh. Kung alam mo ba ibebenta mo, syempre hindi, di ba? Kung sabihin natin, di ba? Sabihin natin yung price umabot ng 10, binenta mo, tas bumaksak. Magsisisi ka rin ba? Hindi naman, di ba? So hindi pwede na you made a decision, tapos kapag tama di ka magsisisi, kapag mali magsisisi ka. Ginamit mo lang naman yung information na available at the time. Okay? Ganon din dito. Hindi natin pinangunahan. Diba? Hindi natin pinangunahan. Nasiling na. Hindi, sige, papasok na ako. Para bukas tutuloy yan. Hindi natin papangunahan. So what happened? Nag-collapse. We wouldn't have gotten in. There would be no trade. Diba? Sa second, assuming pumasok dito, diba? Dito, even if sabihin natin, na-miss natin, end of day tayo, nakabenta tayo, may konting profit. Diba? But, we wouldn't have gotten in early do sa second candle kasi meron tayong mga sinusundan na rules. And then finally, let's look at OV, no? And this is a more recent example here. So, early 2021. So, ito yung mga instances na makikita mo talaga na linalaro. Paano mo masasabi? Well, first of all, tinan mo naman yung itsura ng chart niya. You can't honestly tell me na may biglaang naging fundamental driver na wala namang pag-iipon na nangyari. Diba? Maybe may slight news, but we need to be able to sift yung news kung ano yung mas pertinent, ano yung mas hindi. Diba? Kailangan marunong natin piliin. So, kunyari ito, nag-ceiling dito. Had you gotten in the first day, safe pa rin eh. Diba? Safe pa rin. You would have gotten here. The next day, kung gusto mo, benta ka na kaagad. Diba? So, from 28 plus 14, so 42, hindi pa nga ito nag-ceiling eh. So, dito, assuming humabol ka ng second day, dahil linaro lang yung stock, wala na, hindi nag-continue. Kasi walang strong fundamental driver yung pagtulak ng price pataas. The other thing that you need to remember in these types of plays is very often when price moves up too rapidly, as in yung ceiling, more often than not, mababawi rin yan. Kasi may imbalance na naganap eh. Hindi ko sinasabi na mababawi lahat pero malaki yung tendency na at big chunk of that move, mababawi eventually unless may very, very, very strong fundamental driver na nangyari para matulak yung price ng ganun. Okay? Now, I hope na nakatulong tong mga examples para mas maintindihan nyo yung pinag-usapan nating rules regarding ceiling theory. So guys, dito po nagtatapos yung discussion natin on ceiling theory. Kung meron po kayong mga tanong, please feel free to post them in the comments section below. Okay? Myself, and paminsan-minsan kung may oras si Senior Spyfrat, he'll drop by and try to answer those questions, no? And as always, maraming salamat po sa panonood. I really appreciate it. Good luck and happy trading!